Welcome to the Contrarians and welcome to Wednesday. It is the Contrarians live chat. Our topic tonight, album covers with fire and or explosions. Whole panel's here ready to go. Let's do it. Anyway, so much for the countdown. Jeez, that thing just went right off. Hey, I want to welcome the panel tonight. We've got Mr. Ladonna. We've got Marco here tonight. Marco, nice to see you, of course. We've got Jamie. We've got Johnny Metal. We are going to talk about, what are we talking about? We are talking about album covers that have, it could be a title of a record. It could be the graphics on a record. Explosions or fire. We want to hear from you in the chat. Let's see what's going on in the chat before we get started. Ken's here. Ken, thanks for coming. Gary Joyce, the principal, is here as well. I've got a new Owen Warland. I've got Nuclear Assault's Game Over and Slayer's Hell Awaits. Pat Benatar doesn't do thrash. Or does she? I don't know. Coney Hack Friction, that would work. All right, well, let's keep it started. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. How is everybody tonight?
All right.
I'm gonna go as I see it. I'm gonna go Mike, Marco. I'm gonna go Jamie, and then Johnny Metal and myself, and we're gonna go 3, 3, and 4. Keep it loose, keep it interactive like we always do. And let's get started. Mr. Ladonna, take it away.
Good evening, Grant.
Of course it is.
I would like to start with my first batch of records that are all pretty heavy. And the first one that I'd like to start with is by a band called Pantera.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them? Okay, well,
No.
these guys were pretty popular back in the 90s and early 2000s. This is their final album, Reinventing the Steel.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, honestly, I picked this one because it's so bad. That is a really bad cover. It looks like some picture that some dude took at some, beach party or something like that. It does not look like an album cover to me at all. Embarrassingly bad Pantera album cover, Reinventing the Steel, but there's lots of fire. Lots of fire. Now, the next thing that the brothers Abbott did was a band called Damage Plan. And I think their first album, their debut, was an album called Newfound Power, I believe.
Where is it?
I don't know.
I'm looking. Hold on. There, I got it.
There it is. And there's an explosion for you. That's an explosion. And I got to be honest with you. I picked this one because to me, it looks so bad. It looks like 4 guys standing in front of a green screen with a. It doesn't even look like the explosion is in scale with the 4 guys, and it just, I don't know, what are they doing? Why is the one guy kind of doing this with his arms? I don't understand this album cover, but there it is. That's an explosion for you. My last album, it counts. My last album of this batch, it always reminds me of my buddy Marco Doria. Because on my old show, The LeBrain Train, a long time ago, we did a Tony Martin episode. We did, I can't remember if it was top 5 or whatever, but we did a Tony Martin episode. And Marco had this cool background where he had the angel wings from Black Sabbath's Cross Purposes album. So that's why whenever I see this, I see Marco where the wings are. And that's my Japanese copy with the bonus track. And then there's just my original CD copy. And, there's fire on that back cover too. This one saw a recent reissue this year in that Anno Domine box set. So a lot of people are rediscovering these Tony Martin albums right now. But, those of us in the know, we've always known. And this is 30 years old this year, 1994.
Oh, my God. Time's just zipping by.
And that's my first 3.
All right. Excellent. Let's see what's happening. D. Rocker says, Pat Travers Crash and Burn. There you go. A good one. Wasp. Goodness gracious. I don't think Wasp is going to appear tonight, but maybe it might. My bet says yes. Abalone from 2009. They can't hear the explosion behind them because their hearing is shot. What are you talking about?
He means that Damage Plan
What
album
are you
cover.
talking about?
He's talking about the Damage Plan album cover.
Oh, maybe. Was it you, Mike, that's brought that up before, or has Martin brought that up? One of you guys have brought that album up before.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, I don't know. Who must have been Martin then. All right, let's go over to Marco. What are your 3 picks?
All right. Well, first of all, for the individual who mentioned Pat Travers, I guess you could include the song Boom Boom Out Go the Lights if we're talking about explosions, just based on the song title. And I do want to start off with an honorable mention. I wanted to pick Crazy World of Arthur Brown because I saw him live, and because of he's the god of Hellfire. I think he would have been a good addition to this list. But so I started off with my first, if we're going in order here, I picked Saxon Dogs of War, which is, Saxon is a band that ages like fine wine. And this is an album that came out, I guess, after their heyday. This came out in the mid 90s. And it sounds better than it has any right to sound. I guess you could argue it sounds a little dated, but I mean, it's excellent. If it came out 10 years earlier, it would have been amazing. So that's my second one. And I mean, look at that background. Reminds me of Man of War, actually.
It really does. Yeah.
But it looks like the whole world is on fire in that one. So that's a really cool looking album cover, and it's actually a really cool album. My next pick, I went with, this is a bit of a stretch, but I went with a live Budgie compilation called We Came, We Saw. This one was released more recently, I think, but it's actually recordings from 1980. I think it's a 2-disc set, and there's some really cool songs on here like Napoleon Bonaparte and stuff like that. It's a little bit of a stretch because there's not necessarily fire, but I mean, look, there's tanks driving around. It looks like they're in the middle of some kind of, skirmish or something like this. So if an explosion isn't going off, it looks like it's about to. That's my next one. Another really cool one. Like I said, it's a live compilation of songs from the early 80s, 80 and 81, I think. And then my next one, going back to the well for another classic, heavy rock, heavy metal band that released something a little more recently. This is Tigers of Pantang and their album Ambush. And again, it looks like the whole thing's on fire. This is another album, a more recent album from Tigers of Pantang. And it sounds dated, but it's a good album. For 2012, it sounds like it was almost made in 1988 or something like this. But it's actually a really good album. There's some good songs on it. And yeah, it's a more recent one, and I think the cover fits right in. So those are my first 3.
There you go, Ken, going with Grand Funk Railroad Phoenix. And we talk about that, Ken. Tomorrow night we're premiering the Mark Farner on my show on Grants Rock Warehouse. We are doing that interview tomorrow with Mark, and we talk about that album. So Phoenix, make sure you guys stay tuned. So we had to talk about it. Hopefully, I'm going to do self-promotion. I don't give a shit. Hopefully we talk about some stuff that normally most people don't talk to Mark about. So stay tuned and see that tomorrow. Anyway, Firefall, D-Rocker, self-titled album. Yeah, that's a good one too. Anyway, all right, Marco, do you have another one?
Are we doing 3?
We're doing 3.
That was just 3.
Okay, we're good. All right. See, we have Johnny Metal keeping track.
I saw somebody foreshadowed one of mine from later in the chat, but I'll get to it.
Yeah, you're going to get that. You're going to get that. So, all right, cool. Let's go over to Mr. Laszlo. Jamie, what's your 3?
All right. I didn't pull anything.
That's all right. I'm ready.
So
I'm ready.
I'm relying on you 100%.
There you go.
And I got a theme. Big, intense mushroom clouds on all my albums. So the first one, this might have been brought up last week and got me thinking about this theme. Jefferson Airplane, Crown of Creation. Did we talk about this last week?
Yes. That's how this all started.
That's how it started? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's the big bang that's going to start this off for me today. And we're going from that mushroom cloud, Green Day's Dookie, which is an animated mushroom cloud. A little bit more funny, less intense, less scary, but still a mushroom cloud. And then we're going to go to Count Basie. This might have been the first album to ever have a mushroom cloud on it, the Atomic Mr. Basie. And that's a really cool album, by the way. Pretty intense. It's the only Count Basie album I ever heard that I liked.
What, Jamie, what year's that from, though?
50
something, right? Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, something like that.
50 something. Yeah.
Look at the bottom, guys. E = MC squared = Count Basie Orchestra plus Neil Hefti arrangements. That's new physics, my friends.
You gotta love it. I dig it. Yeah, well, at least Count Basie got some love. I'm all good with that. All right, cool. There's his 3. And yes, Jamie is sitting down. Gary Joyce, he's sitting down. D-Rock or Boston, self-titled, and Walk On. No one mentioned any Boston tonight. Street Survivors. It hasn't been mentioned, Byron, but did I pick that? I might have picked it. I can't remember now. Nuclear Assault. I think that's been mentioned in Game Over. Yep. The Aussie cover for Highway to Hell. Chrome Destiny. That's a good pick. Shooting Star Destiny. There you go. I don't know if we've ever mentioned any Shooting Star on this channel, but we are today. So there you go. That's good. Bob Welch, French Kiss, D-Rocker. Wait, I don't detect any fire and explosions unless you're talking about Bob and the model. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. Johnny Metal.
All right. Well, my first pick, I had 2 I could have gone with this particular guitar player. There was one album he had with Fire Breathing Dragons, but I thought, let's go with his debut with the Stratocaster, Reaching Out of the Fire, displaying his fiery playing. I went with Yngwie Malmsteen's Marching Out.
I hope this is the right one.
Oh no, I was thinking of the one.
How many different covers are there?
You're thinking of Rising Force.
Rising Force. My bad.
All right.
That was my fault. It should have been Rising Force.
Well,
but,
let's pretend that there's flames under.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot.
There's a
lot of smoke. There's a lot of smoke going on with that one. But yeah. That's Rising Force is the one I was really thinking of, where she's.
Okay. Well, I could have picked that.
That was my fault. I think I just gave you the wrong title. Anyway,
that's okay.
Okay. So from fiery guitar players, we go to shock rockers from Minnesota. Let's talk a little bit about a band called Impaler.
Yeah.
The Great Hereafter, with this demon angel with the fiery legs and wings going at it and stuff like that. Fun band. If you like that kind of shock rock, garagey, punky, aggressive, just fun stuff, like that stuff. All right. My last pick for this go around is the latest from Overkill, Scorched.
There you go. Got it up there.
There you go. So
people are mentioning smoke, so I'm going to turn on the fog machine so we have more of a.
Oh boy.
You may not see me here in a bit. So anyway, go ahead.
So there you go. Yeah, that's my first 3.
Excellent. All right. Cool. We're keeping it moving. Let's go to my picks now. I have to scroll down. All right. I'm going to go with, oh, this is so funny. Because when this topic came up, I immediately thought of this. Now, this is a great record. We don't normally talk about the Leuven brothers, but Satan is Real. Come on, look at that. What a great album cover. I like the font. I like the evidently one of the brothers made that devil thing, but it's a country, it's a religious album, but it fits, it checks that box. So I had to pick it. Another one we are going to go with, well, I don't want that one. No, I'm going to go with Street Survivors. Leonard Skinner. It's already been mentioned in the chat, but how can you not mention it? Lots of fire here. Not a good situation with this band, but it definitely checks that box. My next one, I am going to go with, and I'm surprised that no one here on the panel even brought this up. Pink Floyd. Come on, Wish You Were Here. That's a Hypnosis cover, and it definitely fills in that, checks that box. So, pretty straightforward stuff. Other than this is a little bit more obscure because most people probably here don't know this. but it's a great cover. I like this album cover. I love the font. I love everything about it. All right, Michael Ladonna, let's throw it over to you. What's your next three?
Okay, so this is where I go off the beaten track and hopefully put some albums on the screen that have never been on the Contrarians before. And we're going to go with a science fiction theme for this next trio. First up, I would like to go with Mr. Maestro John Williams, of whom there's a Disney Plus special on right now. John Williams with Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
Once I find it, I have it. There we go. There
we go. So there's some explosions going on down there at the bottom. Some lightsabers ablaze, some lasers blasting. But I think for most of us, I was just happy to hear John Williams conducting this kind of music again. And from this particular album, Ray's theme remains an outstanding piece of music. But there's an explosion for you, and some Harrison Ford to boot. So maybe John Williams' first ever appearance on the Contrarians. Switching to a different science fiction franchise, one that Jamie Laszlo is wearing on his shirt right this moment. Let's go with some Star Trek. Episode 6, The Undiscovered Country. This is by Cliff Idleman, the soundtrack. I actually don't own this CD. I would like to. And I think that explosion that we're witnessing there is the Klingon moon Praxis, which exploded at the beginning of the movie. And on the cover there, you can see within the blast, you can see Dr. McCoy, Mr. Spock, and Captain Kirk as portrayed by DeForest Kelley, Leonard Nimoy, and William Shatner. And of course, haunting us from the behind is, Christopher Shakespeare, I'm going to say, because I just had a brain fart and can't remember his name. My mother would kill me.
No.
Mr. Lloyd?
No. Sound of Music.
Christopher George?
No. The Sound of Music. Go ahead. I hate to do this.
Your brain, Mike. Your brain.
I know.
I got nothing.
The brain's a terrible thing.
Christopher Plummer and my mother. I'll look in the comments, everybody. So there we go. Star Trek, Episode 6, The Undiscovered Country. But for my last science fiction Star Trek pick, I'm going to go, again, even further off the beaten track, because we're going with something with only fire in the title, which is a trick that I learned from you guys over the last couple of weeks, that apparently counts.
It does.
So we're going with the fairly recent solo EP by Christina Chong. An EP called Twin Flames, and she's also smoking hot, so that counts too. But she plays on the current Star Trek series, Star Trek. She plays Lon Noonien Singh, distant ancestor of Khan himself, and I can't remember the name of the series. All of a sudden, that's my night for brain farts. But there's Christina Chong with Twin Flames, not the first Star Trek cast member to release an album. Of course, we had William Shatner, we had Leonard Nimoy. We had Brent Spiner. All these guys have released albums. She is just the latest in a long line of talented Star Trek singers, Christina Chong.
And I must say, Michael, that this is the first time Christina Chong has ever been mentioned on the Contrarians.
Fantastic. That was my goal.
Yeah, well, you're doing pretty well tonight.
Any relation to Tommy Chong?
Unfortunately, no. She's British.
Well,
and Tommy is Canadian.
And
Tommy's Canadian? I didn't know that.
3. Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd was in Star Trek 3, correct? Yeah, but that was Christopher Plummer, and I'm so embarrassed that I forgot that, and I can't remember the name of the series that Christina Chong is on. Strange New Worlds. See,
everything's foggy now. I might be on fire, but it fits the topic.
Well, I thought that was my brain smoking, trying to remember these details.
No, we are totally fogging. We're fogging right now. All right, cool. Thank you, Mr. Ladonna. Let's throw it over to Marco. Marco, what's your next three?
All right on. So again, I went with another kind of like a legacy hard rock metal act that released an album in the 90s that kind of continues the sci-fi theme, I guess. This is Dio, Angry Machines. And the cover kind of looks like a little bit of that Mars Attacks. Has that Mars Attacks charm to it. There's some explosions going on in the background. And it's a good record if you like that phase of Dio where he starts to go a little bit more low tempo, heavy, kind of sludgy, Dehumanizer-esque. It's another one kind of in line with that. So it's a great album. My next one, this is one that we covered on the Contrarians. This was I think, our first video to really explode in the views, actually. And this is Wendy O. Williams' album, Wendy O. Williams' solo album. So you can see it looks like there's, she might even be on stage, and those are flash pods or explosions going on, some fire there. This is an album that we put under the video of, is Wendy O. Williams the best Kiss album of the 80s? There's a lot of Kiss members on this album. I believe Gene produced it. It's an interesting record because you have kind of like different eras of Kiss merging. There's like Vinnie Vincent is on here, but so is like Ace Frehley, and there's kind of like different members from different eras of Kiss playing on here. So it's an interesting album in that regard. And then next we're sticking in the 80s in this one with Dokken, Under Lock and Key. Kind of looks like there's a fiery explosion coming from outside, from behind that door. This is a good Dokken record. I like the songs on it. Unchain the Night, Lightning Strikes Again, It's Not Love is a good song. So there's some really good tunes on here. It's another 80s one, and they just look glammy as hell on the front cover, but there's an explosion going on in the background, so I thought it fit with what we're talking about.
It's 100%. Yeah. Good one. Excellent. Awesome. God darn. Ken White saying hello to the pair. Oh, here we go. The Parish of Rock, ladies and gentlemen. Bat Out of Hell, Meatloaf. That totally fits. Ted Nugent, Weekend Warriors. That's good. Henry Wright's coming up with James Brown, Hot. Wow. God, I love that. Never forget the Dokken music video filmed on top of an active volcano. Yep, there you go. Chrome Destiny, the band, Northern Lights, Southern Cross. Maiden, Number of the Beast. That might show up tonight. According to Brian, Wendy O. Williams is the best Kiss record released. That's pretty controversial, but I expect that coming from you, Brian, so I'm not really too worried about it. What else we got? Bebop Deluxe, Sunburst Finish. Ken, I almost picked that, but I didn't think we should show that cover, so I didn't pick it. Anyway, all right, let's keep it moving. Jamie Laszlo, you are up. What's your next three?
All right, I did pull this next one out because it is a single, but I wanted to show that it is 12-inch album size, and that is Iron Maiden 2 Minutes to Midnight.
Okay, I got that, yep.
With the mushroom cloud there in the back. The next one is Sturgill Simpson, Sound and Fury. This is a guy that I was all in with for his first 3 records, and for some reason I just lost interest. I don't know why. It happens sometimes. It's an okay record, but kind of lost.
I like the album cover. I've never heard the record though.
Yeah, I heard bits and pieces. What I heard is okay. My next one's from a band who has way too many greatest hits albums, and that is Megadeth, Greatest Hits Back to the Start. You know, for a band like Megadeth, they got like what, 3-4 greatest hits albums. It's not really unnecessary. It's all unnecessary.
I mean, how much do you need? Just saying. Right. All right, cool. There's 3. All right. Thank you, Jamie. Let's throw it over to Johnny Metal. What's your next 3?
All right. I believe I have talked about the only set of Gallagher brothers that matters to me. Raven, Walk Through Fire. This would have been an album they came back with after Mark had an accident where a retaining wall fell down on top of him and did some pretty bad damage to his legs. And this would be their first album coming back with that good album. Next up, let's go to another shredder, Steve Vai and Passion and Warfare. You got all the flames and fire thing going on in the background there. So I thought, and plus Steve's fiery playing always is a good thing. Poor Grant's going to have he's going to have a smoke inhalation problem.
It's a little thick in here.
Yeah.
I turned it off, but hey, it's for the fire and explosion show. So
and I was almost considering doing this in Beavis voice the entire time and saying fire after everything, but I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. Last choice, Robert Plant, Pictures at 11.
Great record.
Probably one of my favorites from him. Is probably what I think when I finally heard him, that's what made me go back to Led Zeppelin, because I think I got that when I was a kid, And then I heard Led Zeppelin. I'm like, okay, yep, that's it. So
Yeah, I like that whole Robert Plant solo era. I like it. Well, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to be controversial, but I do like his solo material.
oh, I love
think
his
it's
solo material.
I do too. So I like it just as much as Led Zeppelin. So there you go. Some of it. Well, when you get on the, let's keep it moving. I'm not going to go into a whole thing. All right. So my next pick, I'm going to go with, let's see here. What should we do? Did Pink Floyd? Let's go back to 1973 and look at the first Styx album. Look at that. They're all standing by the fire nude. Now, if that's what you did in the 70s, Orleans liked to get nude. A lot of these guys like to get, Pablo Cruz. I don't know. What's the thing to do? I hope they didn't get burned, but, the cover's got fire on it, so that counts. We're going to go to another record that came out in 1982. Now, this record has fire on it. No explosions, but it is taken from the Beatles record burning in 1966. Going to go with Utopia, Swing to the Right. Of course, instead of holding up Meet the Beatles, we've got Copy of Swing to the Right, which is a great record. Bearsville kind of screwed Utopia, but that's for another show. My number 7, you mentioned Raven, Walk Through Fire. I'm mentioning April Wine, Walking Through Fire. Got to mention some April Wine tonight.
Of course.
Of course I do. Love April Wine. This record's not so great, but it's a contractual thing for Capitol. Some people like it. It's not my cup of tea. So anyway, that's my next 3. Okay. Oh, the Parish. Slade in Flame. Look at you. Bless your soul. Deep Purple Burn. No one had that. No one mentioned Deep Purple, Byron. Wow.
Fireball.
Or Fireball, yeah.
Or Fireball. No one has any. That's a good one. No one did any Deep Purple. LaRue, So Fired Up. That's a good one. All right. Jamie is killing it with actual explosions. Jamie always kills it. Come on. April Wine. All right, let's throw it over to Mr. Lodano. Let's get your take.
Hey,
what's your next 4?
Damage Plan, Actual Explosion, Damage Plan. Come on. My next pick, my last 4 picks. We're going to start with a band. I'm not sure how you pronounce the name. Johnny Metal has to help me here. It's
Johnny Metal?
Ezo or Ezo? Ezo?
I always said Easy O.
Okay, I always say Ezo, but there's Fire, which doesn't really have fire on the cover, but it's got fire in the title. So that counts, apparently, is what I've learned from this show. And as some people may,
it's very bright in the background, so it looks like it could be
a fire. It could be a fire. But as some people may know, the lead singer Masaki up there in the front, he ended up fronting Loudness after this. But that's apparently a great record that I would love to own, that I don't. And if anybody out there has a copy, send me a message.
I've never heard it. Did it ever come out did it ever come out digitally? Probably
not.
You can get, I know you can get it on Spotify. You might be able to get it on iTunes, but yeah, finding a CD of that, well, both the EZO albums are pretty tough, but sometimes you can find vinyl versions. I got really lucky and found a vinyl version locally and probably only paid $10 for it.
That's a steal.
I mean, I have never seen this record in the wild.
It's drastically, it's a little different from the first album. John and the Music Nut and we did a show on both this album and the debut, and yeah, it is a different album, but yeah, it's very good though.
So anyway, hopefully, hey, if you know about this band, please leave a comment, because really, all this show's trying to do is turn you on to stuff. A lot of this stuff maybe we haven't all heard, but we're all sharing here today. It's a community. Please let us know if you've heard this record and what your thoughts is on it. All right, cool.
Mr. And if you can sell me a copy as well, I would like that.
Yeah, we're trying to sell a copy to Mike. He needs one. So
My next pick is a band that has come up in the comment section numerous times already, but not this album. We're going with Kiss Alive 4, but not the Kiss Symphony version. This came out in a box set, this Kiss Alive box set, which also has Fire. So it's actually a double pick. I've got 2 fires here. Twin flames, as Christina Chong might say. But I chose this because look at the overabundance of Fire.
But that's such a great cover.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Don't
I think
you
some of
love this cover? Man.
And I think some of that counts as explosions as well, I think. But, as far as Kiss Fire covers go, I think that might be Fire Saturation. Just my opinion.
I think it's great.
So that's Kiss Alive 4. My next one has come up in the comments already. It's The Number of the Beast. I knew I had to do at least one Iron Maiden album. And when I thought of Iron Maiden and I thought of Fire, this is the first thing that came to mind. I've always loved the nuance of this album cover. You think it's Eddie puppeteering the devil himself, but if you look closely, the devil is actually puppeteering another small Eddie there at the bottom. So we know who's really in control.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah, and it ain't Eddie. And I've written an entire blog about what I perceive to be a running storyline through the first 8 Iron Maiden album covers by Derek Riggs. So if you go to my blog, MikeLadano.com, you will find that. And this is part of that ongoing story, which I won't get into now. But there's tons of flames. The ground is on fire. Eddie is holding fire in his hand, which I've always likened to the Montrose cover that they did. I've got the fire. His eyes are aflame, which is a trick that Derek Riggs used that they kind of dropped when Derek Riggs stopped being the artist. And you got some explosions of lightning in the background. So I'm going to say that covers, as Grant would say, it ticks the box.
It does, doesn't it?
It does tick the box.
I think that's the best Iron Maiden cover. Just between us girls, I think that's the best one.
It's certainly a winner.
It's one of the top 5, I'd say, right?
Oh, and you know what? As an added bonus, if you flipped it around to the back cover, it's got the band painted into the background and Bruce is holding a torch. So that's an added bonus too.
Yeah.
And then we have my final pick. And I had to bring it back home to Canada because I've been doing that for all these shows recently.
Bless you, my child.
And this is a band that you did with Martin on your channel, I believe.
Were you me and Martin?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I got the album wrong. This is a later album that you and I did. Yes.
Right.
This is a later Helix album called The Power of Rock and Roll. Look at those explosions. That's cool.
It looks like he's on fire practically.
It looks like he's in imminent peril of catching fire. That is for sure. But this is actually a fabulous album. It's a real strong comeback for Helix after, I want to be kind, but they kind of meandered a bit in the 90s, as a lot of bands did. And that culminated in a very kind of grungy album in 2004 called Rockin' in My Outer Space. This is the return to form. And I think it shows on that album cover. Brian Vollmer, fist in the air. He'd been there for 30 plus years at this point. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary next year. So happy 50th birthday, Helix. There you go. The Power of Rock and Roll. Highly recommend this album. Very strong album.
So Mike, didn't we do we did 3 episodes looking at the Helix catalog. So
you did one with Martin and Tim and
then you came in. Okay.
Yeah, 2 with Tim and I.
All right. Oh yeah, okay. I remember. Martin couldn't. It's funny. Yeah, but we finished it up. Great series. Check it out on my channel. So there you go. All right, excellent. Let's go over to Marco. Marco, what are your final 4?
Okay, so my final 4. I'm starting off with one that showed up in the comments. I think this was Ken that mentioned this one earlier on, and I think we saw a flash of it too for a second. But
we did. I'm
a big Grand Funk fan. And I actually really like this album, Phoenix, a lot. And I think it's a bit of an underrated album. I like the instrumental quite a lot, Flight of the Phoenix. And there's some classic sounding. I don't know. I'm getting the thumbs down for it, but there's some classic.
Not you. Super Strike says Helix stinks. I'm getting the thumbs down. Not you, Marco.
I'm from Kitchener, dude. I'm from Kitchener.
Come on, man. Come on, Super Strike. Come on.
The only thing that stinks around here is the comments. All right, so
let's
get in line here. Anyways, so again, I think it's a bit of an underrated Grand Funk album. To me, it's a classic. Some of the songs on here are classic. Grand Funk. I Just Got to Know, Trying to Get Away, Rock and Roll Soul. along with the instrumental. I think are some great Grand Funk tunes. My next album is straight out of the 80s. Again, Manowar, Kings of Metal. This is a very heavy, hard rocking album. And look at that album cover, just an explosion of whatever's going on in the background. But yeah, this is a great album by Manowar from the 80s. Next one is a more recent one. So I have a mix. Probably half of mine are classic albums. Half of them are kind of more newer. But this is one that we actually did on the Contrarians back in the day. This is Megadeth, United Abominations. Maybe a little topical. But this was one that our old co-host and buddy, shout out to Nick, who is not on the Contrarians anymore, but I'm sure he sends his love. He'll probably never see this anyway. But he picked United Abominations, and we had a discussion about it. That is in the archive if anybody goes through our channel and looks for Megadeth. So that was a classic episode that we did back when we were doing them in person in Martin's office. So there's United Abominations. It's a classic sounding, to me, it's a classic sounding Megadeth album. And then last but not least, to go with the theme of fire, just to pick one of the most iconic images of fire in rock and roll music, in my opinion, we have Jimi Hendrix live at Monterey. I also have the DVD here where he's lighting his guitar on fire. So that was one of the first things I thought of, and I wanted to end with that album because of the iconic imagery on the front cover. And there's some classics on here. Foxy Lady's on here, Purple Haze, Wind Cries Mary. So, I mean, if you're looking for whether it's the video or the soundtrack, this is an iconic, classic Jimi Hendrix live concert. And those are my final four.
Excellent. Love Jimmy. Perfect. I was thinking of picking Jimmy, but I figured someone else would. So that's awesome, Marco. Appreciate it. All right, let's throw it over to Jamie Laszlo. Jamie, you are up. What's your final four?
Final four. So in 1976, when Kiss was a little bit more popular, I guess they decided to release the first three albums in one package so you could play catch up really quick. It was called Kiss the Originals. And there's your Mushroom Cloud there. I think it's kind of cheaply made too. They were like in paper sleeves in there. You see them out in the wild. They're not in great shape. They didn't stand up to time.
I don't want to interrupt, but I have to mention this. Back when I was a kid, this was like one of those records, because the only record store we had in beautiful scenic Marion, Ohio was Musicland at the mall. And you would be hard pressed to find a copy of Kiss the Originals. And like with my buddies and I, we were always going, God, it'd be great to have the originals, because they didn't have a lot of like different
Had a lot of extra knickknack stuff.
But we never would see it. It was like a mystical record.
I was a teenager and I found it at a flea market for like $5. And it had everything in it. The cover was a little beat up, but everything else was in it was in perfect shape. Yeah. I got lucky with that one for $5.
I mean, I've seen these at record stores. I remember seeing it maybe one copy at Musicland back in the day. But that was about it. But I always wanted a copy of it. I never got it. But I like the cover because it looks like Gene's blowing out fire. I guess that was the idea for it. I don't know. It looks like he's spitting fire. I like the cover quite a bit.
That was my assumption, Grant. I have this, but it's missing all the stuff. It just has the records.
Does anybody in the comments have it with all the stuff? I would love to see what all the stuff was. Anyway, leave a comment, please. And by the way, since I'm saying leave a comment, please leave a like. We've got 70 people watching right now. Please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to the Contrarians, please subscribe. We'd love to have you around. And anyway, let's keep it moving. Mike, keep going. I probably interrupted you, but
Jamie.
Oh, see, I don't even know who's talking. Tangent. All right, Jamie, what's your next one?
All right, I'm going to have to admit something. I don't know my last three very well, but I had to come up with 10 mushroom clouds. So I had to pad this thing up. There was Googling involved. I listened to some of these albums, though. Some of these albums. Tree of Woe, Mushroom Cloud. Now, I listened to this on YouTube. All the songs have about 200 views, so it's not very popular. I will say it's like alternative rock, 2005, indie rock, alternative rock. It's a whole lot of eh. But there's your Mushroom Cloud. God damn it. Next one, some noisy, thrashy black metal. I know of this band, but never heard the album until about 10 minutes before the show started. Destroyer 666, Violence is the Prince of the World. Very intense music, not a lot of melody, a lot of noise, a lot of black metal vocals.
You know what, Jamie? I think that's the same Mushroom Cloud photo as the Megadeth album.
It might be.
Well, it could be like a stock photo that they bought. You know,
I think that's the case.
Can you put up the Megadeth real quick?
I can.
No,
my bad.
LaDonna, you're out of your mind. Yeah, that's not the same, but that's all right. It's all good. Could have been. All right.
And I heard some people have brought up Nuclear Assault. How about Nuclear Assault Pounder with a Mushroom Cloud on the cover?
There you go.
Boom. Kind of like a crossover type band with the, punky, thrashy vibe to them. So there you go.
I think based on that, I'm going to throw up the original busy background that we were going to have anyway. What the hell? All right, check this out. This kind of complements this.
Whoa.
It's busy, ladies and gentlemen. Brace yourselves. We're going to go with this till we end the show. All right. Okay. Johnny Metal. What you got?
All right. This one's for Jake Knott from State Farm, who got to see this tour just recently. Armored Saints, Raising Fear. Basically, you got the Armored Saint soldier coming up through the ground and blowing up the city. So,
where are you? Where is it? There it is. Got it. There you go.
There we go. Perfect. Great album. Last album with David Pritchard before he would pass away from leukemia, if my memory serves me correctly. That as far as the timeline on that. Next album. There's a band that probably nobody knows about, or they need to hear more about it. Malaya Rage, a band, album called Idle Hands. This album, it doesn't have the original singer, but these guys were a very good melodic thrashy band that came out. I think they were from the Boston area in like the late 80s, and their first couple albums were really, really, really good. I like a lot of the later stuff, but I like the cover for Idle Hands. I think that's pretty fun. Well, we haven't mentioned a Judas Priest album. So how about Firepower? So yeah.
Perfect.
It's, you got it in the title, and then you got it in the thing that's blowing up. So yeah, that's a great album as well. Jake, I apologize. You're right. I probably should have gone with Dominator. Instead, I went with Unholy Terror. With there you go. As far as my last one. So that would be my final pick. But yes, Dominator would have been a great choice as well. But
that fits.
This one fits. So there you go. That's my last.
Cool. Excellent. Thanks, John. All right, let's we're almost done. We are running. What time is it? We are doing pretty good.
And I did not mention Cro-Mags. I knew there was a famous one I was missing. I couldn't remember what it was, and that was it. Cro-Mags have a Mushroom Cloud on their album.
All right. Excellent. I got to go back to this. That's driving me. Let's do this. There we go. We'll do that one. That other one's driving me crazy. I didn't know it would, but it's driving me nuts. All right. Let's keep going. I've got my final four once I scroll to them. So that's half the battle. All right. We mentioned Styx. I mentioned Utopia. We got April Wine. But why not the Ohio Players? Fire. There's no fire. She's dressed in a fireman's out. Well, kind of. Come on. She's not. If she would fight a fire in that, she'd be burned. But it does say fire on the title, so that counts. I picked another Dokken album. Come on. Tooth and Nail. You've got that ball coming out of the water, which doesn't make any sense at all, but great record. And
No
we know
fire
we love docking.
that version.
Love docking. Let's see, what else do we have? Another one. This was mentioned in the chat. The worldwide release for High Voltage, AC/DC. My favorite AC/DC album. Is it a real album? No, it's pretty much a compilation, but I like it quite a bit. I think it's a good record. But we got the lightning coming down. You've got the fire in the corner. Come on, it works. Let's see. Did I miss something? I might have missed one. I'm going to have to look. Let me look, because maybe my graphic disappeared, because the graphics tend to disappear. Or maybe I'm just going to wrap it up. That'd take too much time to get to find it. I might have had another one. That's 9. Close enough. Does anybody else have any just honorable mentions they want to just mention?
I thought of one just now.
All right.
Hold on. I want to dim my thing so you can see it. Well, maybe you can see it anyways.
Well, dim your thing.
There's I got a new phone. New fancy
Okay,
phone.
cool.
The Hagar, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
HSAS.
Name Anderson?
Yep.
Arison? I don't know who Arison is. Who is he?
Kenny Harrison.
You know
Kenny
what?
Harrison.
Yeah, he was
Bass
in a band
player.
called Dust. That was like a pre-Kiss band by Kenny Kerner.
He was in Bust?
He was in Dust.
Oh, okay.
He's got that big long hair, the beard. Yeah, he's a wicked bass player.
Okay. I know Dust. I have their album.
Yeah, I thought you did.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I have the CD sitting here, but where did it go? I don't know. I had it here. Whatever.
You know,
Anybody
I was
else?
looking.
Go ahead.
I was looking through my entire Ray Doria collection, and unfortunately, I could not find a Ray Doria album that had fire on the cover. So I apologize to Marco. I have a very extensive Ray Doria collection, and I just couldn't find anything.
It's all good. Thanks for looking, though. Thanks for trying. Appreciate
Marco's
it.
going to hold it against you, though.
I was what I was afraid of.
He's very judgmental.
I'll let it go. No.
All right.
I'm
So
like
I
a
guess we
goldfish.
did
I
it.
already forgot.
All right. Well, let's see what's happening in the comments. We are done unless anybody else has any other honorable mentions.
One more.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
From 1989, Steve Jones, Fire.
I'll make it big.
Yes.
There you go.
I saw that mentioned in the comments. Yeah.
Jeez, you think I'd remember that? Because I bought that on Grant's Rock Warehouse last year. We did the Neurotic Outsiders episode.
We did Neurotic Outsiders.
I
yeah.
was talked into buying that. I bought that CD on the show.
There you go. See, that's how we do it here.
Yeah.
Soldiers of Misfortune and Forward to Termination are better than anything Annihilator have done. Alice in Hell is good, but that's about it. All right.
Nobody mentioned, like mentioned earlier, Deep Purple Burn, Deep Purple Fireball. Those are some good honorable mentions. There's a Kiss single.
Heaven's
for
on Fire.
Heaven's on Fire. It's like a comet on fire or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to the
Landon.
Vapor Trails, Rush Vapor Trails in a way.
Someone mentioned that. Equinox Sticks.
Yeah.
Landon mentioned that. No one mentioned that.
That's a good one.
Bad Brains self-titled debut. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Well, no, Earth and Fire. Or Earth, Wind, and Fire would match because you could throw all the Earth, Wind, and Fire albums up or Earth and Fire.
Here's one for Johnny Metal. Does the first Wasp album have the logo on fire?
No.
No. Okay.
All right. Well, at least, all right. Oh, Wasp, roasting our marshmallows cover. I was pretty close, Jeff. Does Eat by Heart by Accept count?
Eat the Heat.
Eat the Heat.
I
What
think
did I
there's
say?
fire.
Oh, I can't read it. Eat
I
the
think there's
Heat.
fire in the border on that album cover.
The Cult Firewoman single.
Great pick.
I stand corrected.
It is on fire.
It is
There
on
you
fire.
go. It's on
We'll have to
fire.
take his Wasp man card away.
Yeah.
Jeff,
I haven't
late.
been feeling all that good. So
Hope you feel
Um, my,
better soon, buddy.
My brain's not with me today.
Jeff, you're late. Just going to leave it at there. Steel Panther, feel the steel. Feel the seal. Steel. God, I cannot see. I don't have my glasses on. Yeah, I'll stand by the ones that I condemn as a great Sacrifice album as well. All right. Eldorado has some good songs on it. All right, cool. What time is it? Let's wrap this dog up. I want to thank the panel. Well, real quick, we have a couple minutes. Anybody, Mike, is there anything you want to promote on your channel real quick? And Jamie, we'll just go around real quick. And anything coming up on your channel you want to promote?
Yeah. This coming Friday, we're doing the Mad Max film ranking with Peter Kerr and Harrison Kopp. Next Friday, I'm having very special guest, Helix drummer Archie Gamble. We're going to be talking to Archie on the show. He was in the band from 96 to 2006.
Whoa.
A lot of those albums that we talked about.
Yeah.
And the week after that, I've gone on another special guest, guy by the name of Dim Turling. And he's got a new book out by Sammy Hagar. I think I got that name right. No. Tim Durling is his name.
I don't know who he is.
No, but he's got some book out about Sammy Hagar. So those are my next 3 Fridays in a row. Mad Max this week. Next week is Archie Gamble from Helix. And then Sammy Hagar book with Tim Durling.
Excellent. Jamie, what's happening on the Contrarians? What's happening on Sea of Tranquility? What's up next on Saturday?
Saturday, I'm doing the review crew with 2 or 3 other guys where we talk about, brace yourself, new music and some new bands. So we like to push those smaller bands, that still have a lot of classic sound to them and, put them out in the forefront. So that's and I'm going to be maybe doing it on location. I'm fingers crossed. They were supposed to call me today and they didn't. Maybe they'll call me tomorrow. We'll see.
On location, getting spiffy.
And on the move.
That's good. All right. Excellent. Johnny Metal, what's happening on your channel?
Right. Well, hey, at the top of the hour, y'all can hop on over to my corner or my music corner and catch the latest episode on Accept Up to the Limit series. We're going to be hanging out on Death Row. And the guest on this one is Reed Little. So that was a blast having him on with that. So
yeah, I've never heard of him either. All right, Cool. Excellent. Great picks, everybody. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Thanks for keeping it interactive. It's a community here. I do appreciate it. Marco's giving a thumbs up to everybody.
Big thumbs up.
We'll be back next week. I'm not sure what the topic is, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. So tune back next week, 7 p.m. Eastern time here, and we will have another live show, and I hope everybody shows up. If you'd like to be on these panels, we'd love to have you. We have a Patreon. You can join that, and there's a lot of great interaction, a lot of great postings on there. You get to see shows early. So join that. If you don't want to do that, we also have what is grandmas are great. Mark, are you feeling what is happening with you?
It's just like
he's Canadian, everybody. He and Ladano, just don't pay attention. We also have a Ko-fi, buy us a pint or buy us a cup of coffee. We'd like that. We also take donations. We didn't get any donations tonight. I feel kind of at a loss, but that's okay. It's all good. We're here just talking music. So anyway, tune back next week. Please check us out. Please subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment, and we'll talk some more album covers. So, all right, gentlemen, Mr. Ladano, Mr. Marco, Jamie Laszlo, and Johnny Metal. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye forever.